Welcome everyone to session number 5. So today we will discuss about this that how to choose indicators and how to identify indicator and target for our project. As we had discussion about per step in the previous lessons, so now we will have discussion about this, that how to identify indicator and targets. As we had discussion for in the first step was to know the project. We understand about the projects that when we design a mini system for our project, so it's very important to understand the project, and this is the first step. For example, we will must have information about the log frame, about the output and input, outcome and impact level, and also we will have information about the internal factor and external factors. This is very important and in the design of the immune system. So the first step is completed in the previous lessons, and today we will discuss about the second step. The second step is uh, choose indicators. So we will choose our indicators for the projects, and for example, why we choose indicators and why we select targets, what is result. So we will have discussed this one by one. So first of all, we will have some key terms about this, that what is indicators. For example, indicators in simple, uh, it means that measure something. It mean indicator measure some things. Indicator show for us, for example, how the project is successful. It tells us about the, for example, the progress, the progress. For example, the indicator tell us about, for example, the failure and the success of the project. So we have different types of indicators that we will measure. For example, it by number, percentage, or it will be maybe by feeling satisfaction. One of the things that we measure in the project and or in the activities, that is called indicators. So indicators measure, for example, by different norms, by different methods. So we have here two examples. For example, one of the indicators, the number of children who receive vaccines. For example, this is one of the indicator in a health sector. Or the second indicator is, for example, we have the percentage of donated funds that rich families, for example. So the definition of indicators in simple, the things that measure, and the indicators are very important, therefore that we know about the successful and of the project, that are we successful and do we need for the performance, for example, and in which point we must concentrate. So this is the result of the indicators. The second one is targets. Every indicator has at least one targets, and the target is something that measured by, for example, by number, percentage, and ratio, for example, and that we will achieve it in a specific time. So first of all, that we select indicator for our project, we must select targets. So we will discuss this, that how to set a targets in the next lessons. So for now, we only understand that the target is something number percentage that we will reach in a specific date. For example, here we have set to one target for this indicators, that we for the first indicators. For example, 1,000 children will receive vaccine by February. The February is the specific timeline that we have set for this indicator, and the 1000 or our target that we must achieve it in the specific time. Also, for example, in the second indicator, we have select, for example, 85% uh, target for this indicator that we denoted fines for rich families. But in the specific time is 2019. So in 2019, we must achieve 85% of fines. So this is called target. The target is in simple, it's a percentage, number, or ratio that we must achieve it in a specific date. So now we have result. What's result? The result is the number, percentage that we have already, for example, achieved. So for example, when the project or the activity over, so we share the result with our stakeholder, with our partners, with different groups uh, who had interest in our projects and our activity. A result maybe how difference with our set targets. For example, uh, 987 987 children received vaccines in 2017, for example, in 2017 February month, while we had 1000 targets, but actually we received 987. This is called result, and we here discuss this, for example, that for example lack of resources, for example, one of the reason was that families were not present to vaccine their children. So different reason we can present here for this, that and we can justify that why we have not achieved our 1000 targets. So this is called result. And also 82% of all funded denoted, for example, and we had a target of 85%, while in the result we had 82% of denoted in, for example, in 2019. Mm. So result is the number percentage that we achieved in our at the end of the project, or at the end of the, for example, at the specific time that we had set for our indicators and for our target, for example. Uh, Also, we have some key terms about quantitative indicators. What's quantitative indicator? Quantitative indicators, it measured by number, percentage, and ratio. The quantitative indicators, we can apply different statistical formula, and it's easily to analysis the quantitative indicators. While the qualitative indicators are not measured by a percentage, number, and ratio, these indicators are measured the people satisfaction, feeling, and what people think about the project and activity. And we cannot easily analyze these indicators, and these types of indicators need for a lot of time and resources and expert person to analyze the data of this type of indicators. So in the projects, we always choose quantitative indicators. While we have qualitative indicator, but it's in very less number that we have, in very less number qualitative indicators. But it's must in the project we must have qualitative indicators, and quantitative indicator means we will have mixed indicators, because the qualitative indicators are will give more details, and it's very important to understand about the people satisfaction feeling and what people think about the projects. So the existence of the qualitative indicators or mass in the project, while we use quantitative indicators in the projects in large manner. So we have a lot of quantitative indicators than qualitative indicator in the projects. So these were the key terms, and now we will have discussion about this, that why we choose indicators. For example, let's imagine that we take course, or we have, for example, in the first class of the school, here are two teachers. One of the teachers said, for example, two indicators for him or herself. That is called, for example, how many assignment, for example, were we complete, for example. The second indicator is the final score, test score. This is also has or her indicators. So through these two indicators, she or he take decision about our performance and about our next level class. So this he or she take decision about through these two indicators, that they set target for us, and that we must achieve that targets to find way to next class. One of the teacher did not set these two indicators, and she or he cannot determine the successfulness or the future of the students, and she or he will not understand that how to judge about the students. Also, in the projects, we must select indicators. Without selection of indicators, we will not be able to implement the project successfully, and we will not understand about the usage of resources. We will not understand about the progress. We will not understand about uh, the goal of the projects. So it's very important to choose indicators. We must choose indicators, right indicators for the project. The selection of right indicators will help us to implement a project successfully. Without selection of right indicators, we would not be able to implement the projects, and we will face with different challenges. So it's very important to choose right indicators for our project. Linking indicators to log frames. So it's very important to link indicators to log frames. So the input is indicators must, for example, it must achieve the inputs indicator will have achieve our output. Output will give outcomes. Outcomes will, for example, will give for us impact. So it's very important, and all of these indicators must have linkage with each other. Without linkage, we will not be able to implement the project successfully. So for each of these log frame levels, input, output, outcome, and impact, we choose at least one indicator. So we choose at least one indicators. It means that we can set, for example, three, four, seven indicators per each level. It is belong to the project nature and character. So it's belong to the project activities. For large projects, we have, for example, three outputs. For example, output one, output two. We have, for example, here output one. Okay. For example, uh, also we have output 2, uh, and output 3. So for each of these indicators, for example, for this level we have no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 indicator, for example, for this, for indicator for this, and 2 indicators for this level. So we have different types of indicators for our projects, and it's belong to the, for example, by the nature and character of the projects. So it's very important, and but these all indicators must have linkage with each other, and we must have linking indicators to log frames. So meaning indicator to log frames that the inputs will justify output, output will justify outcome, and outcome will justify our impact. So this is very important. Here's one example, for example, how to linkage indicators to this, for example. So we have in the first time we have impact level indicators. We must define impact in the first step, and then we will select, for example, which resources we will use for this activity. So in the second step is inputs, and through these the usage of these resources we have outputs. For the outputs level, we after outputs we what is the result. So we have outcomes. So for all of these, we will have for all of these levels we will must define each level, and then we will select indicators. For example, for the impact level we have 3 indicators. For outcome we must have 1 indicator or 2 indicators. This belong to the project nature. For the output, for example, we have 2 or 3 indicators. For an input level we have 4 or 5 indicators. So it's belong to the project, and we will share a different type of log frame of the different projects. For example, I will share the UNHCR, for example, the UNHCR log frame, and I will share the UNICEF. For example, I will share with the different log frame of the United Nations, other NGOs, so for example, humanitarian NGOs. In the next lessons, be with me, and we will have that different templates of the log frame. This is a simple template of the log frames that we must understand about this, that why we select indicators, and all of them will have linkage. So means of purification is that we that justify our activity, justify the activity of our indicators. So it's very important to understand about the means of purification. Means of purification is some things, for example, like as GP spine, for example, the PUTUS, for example, the participant list, for example, attendance sheet, different types, and it's belong to the character of the indicators that which means of replication verify our indicator activities. So one of the things is that risk and assumptions. Risk and assumptions are very important, and we must understand about the risk and assumptions. Risk are the something that it go the project poorly, and we cannot implement the project according to the rule and regulation and on time, and it will face project with different challenge. Well, assumptions are something that it's that is not supported by evidence. It means that our bias in our belief that how our people or something. Assumption may be negative or positive, but this affect our project, and um, we must carefully consider assumptions and risks in the projects. For each level of the indicators and of the project level, for example, for input, we must select the right risk and assumptions that, for example, we will tell about this data about our resources, because in the inputs level we deal with resources like as human resources, machinery, time, place. So we must identify our risk and assumption here. and output level, what is the risk and assumption in output level, and what will be the risk and assumption in the outcome level, and what will be the risk and assumption in impact assessment. For example, when we implement a project, after the implementation of the project, we measure our impact. So what will be risk and assumption? So it's very important to understand about these all of types risk and assumptions in our projects. So thank you for watching.